In the unforgiving Yukon wilderness, mining for gold is tough. Parker Schnabel and his team worked hard for weeks, facing lots of problems. They found $250,000 worth of gold, but it wasn't enough to cover their fuel costs. Will they keep going or give up like others before them? Will the rugged Klondike Hills break their spirits along with their equipment? Join us as we delve into their struggle, where a newfound gold find hardly covers their fuel bill. Gold weighed hardly covers fuel cost. As the evening comes to the Yukon site, Mitch looks at his tired team, feeling sad. Even though they've worked hard, what they've achieved doesn't make their tough situation any better. The crackling radio breaks the silence, delivering Parker's solemn report from camp. His voice, tinged with disappointment, echoes through the static, revealing the bitter truth. Their find amounts to a mere $250,000 worth of gold. While it may sound like a fortune to some people, for Mitch and his crew, it's a really small amount that barely covers the cost of fuel for their expedition. The realization hangs heavy in the air, making them feel even more tired and disheartened. For Parker, it's a devastating blow, the accumulation of weeks of backbreaking work, reduced to a sum that barely registers against their mounting expenses. As the weight of their situation sinks in, Mitch can't help but feel frustrated. They've poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this venture, only to come up short. The promise of riches has proven elusive, slipping through their fingers like grains of sand. But amidst the disappointment, there's a glimmer of determination in Mitch's eyes. He knows they can't afford to give up now, not when they've come this far. With grit and determination, they'll press on, fueled not by the promise of gold, but by the sheer force of their will to succeed against all odds. The grim reality of soaring costs. As Parker surveyed the damaged mining site, a worrying realization dawned on him. Their recent gold discovery, while sounding impressive at over $250,000, was barely enough to cover a week's worth of operational fuel costs alone. This stark reality was a heavy blow after all their backbreaking efforts. As operational expenses continued to heap up, their hard-fought profits were vanishing like grains of gold dust scattered to the wind. Crew wages, equipment repairs, fuel, food, royalties. The overhead costs were piling up relentlessly. So far this season, they were dumping over $2.5 million into operations with very little to show for it. It was a sobering thought that their sizable stash of shining gold amounted to barely a tenth of what they had invested into the operations. The crew's morale was sinking, along with Parker's bank balance. The rising expenses and meager returns were taking a toll, both financially and emotionally. The promise of golden riches now seemed like a distant fantasy, an elusive dream defeated by the harsh practicalities of business. Parker knew the margins for error out here were razor thin. One major breakdown or stoppage could drive them underwater completely. If their streak of bad luck continued, the possibility of bankruptcy became scarier each day. As doubts threatened to overwhelm him, Parker considered his options. He could cut his losses now and salvage what little remained of his savings. But calling it quits went against every stubborn fiber of his being. No, Parker resolved. He would find a way through this, just as he always had before in past seasons. Gathering his loyal team, he laid out the dire situation directly. Their path ahead would be a steep one, requiring grit, sacrifice, and ingenious solutions to reel in costs wherever possible. Maintaining their aging fleet of equipment on limited budgets would be an endless game of trial. Every gear, belt, and tire would need to be optimized, repaired, and stretched to the very brink before replacement. When machines eventually broke down, educational YouTube videos would substitute for high-priced mechanics. DIY repairs with improvised parts would be their new normal. For non-essential costs like food, creature comforts would need to be eliminated. From now on, Bulk discount oats and beans will replace expensive imported groceries to fuel their efforts. These big changes made some of Parker's crew feel a bit uneasy and unsure. But Parker's talk brought them together again, reminding them of their loyalty and friendship built over many seasons of hard work. With a common goal in mind, they started feeling hopeful again, even though they knew there were tough times ahead. In the following days and weeks, the mining site became like a survival camp. They patched up broken equipment, keeping it going when it should have given out completely. Mechanics worked miracles to keep their old wash plant, Big Red, running, and the cook, Freddie, stretched their limited food to feed everyone. The whole team worked together, bonded by their shared goal of enduring through tough times. The big moment came halfway through the season when a machine broke down just as they were starting to find a lot of gold. Instead of waiting and losing money, Mitch took charge and quickly rigged up a temporary pump system to fix it. His skills and bravery inspired everyone. With each problem they solved and disaster they avoided, it felt like they were beating the odds just by trying hard. Maybe they could turn their bad luck around. And finally, their hard work paid off. They found more gold that week than ever before, nearly 30% more than their best week last season, over $340,000 worth. At first, surprised shouts of joy rang out across the energized camp. But as they realized what had happened, those shouts turned into triumphant cheers of vindication. They had faced a huge challenge and come out on top. Against all odds, they had won. With morale and their money boosted by this hard-earned success, they started to see a glimmer of hope for the future. Maybe their luck was changing, and they could get out of their financial troubles by the end of the season after all. For now, they decided to celebrate. Gathering happily around the campfire that night, Parker and Mitch opened celebratory beers amid cheers and toasts from the excited crew. They shared stories and laughter under the colorful, aurora-filled sky. At that moment, their friendship and shared goals felt stronger than ever, even more valuable than the gold they had found. The first sign, a massive tire goes pop. Out in the wilds of Yukon, a bunch of tough miners, led by old-timer Tyson, are on a mission to dig up some gold. Their spot, called D10, is like something out of a survival show. Rough terrain, crazy cold, and heaps of frozen dirt to dig through. But these guys are used to tough jobs. Tyson looks around and sees the huge task ahead. Mountains of frozen dirt stretch for miles. They've got to clear away over 15 feet of this stuff before they can even start searching for gold. It's a ton of work, but Tyson has been through worse. As they get to work, Tyson notices things may be looking to get out of hand easily. The cold is biting harder and the wind's picking up. He radios the crew, telling them to watch out. It's only going to get tougher from here. Accidents are more likely in these conditions, and one slip-up could mean big trouble. And trouble comes sooner than expected. Tatiana's truck blows a tire, blocking the way for everyone else. It's a mess. Thousands of dollars are going down the drain every minute. Shane steps up to help. He nudges Tatiana's truck out of the way, but the damage is done. It's gonna cost them big time. Mitch and his crew rush in to fix the tire. It's a beast, weighs over 1,200 pounds, but they're old hands at this. With a bit of clever rigging, they get the job done fast. With Tatiana back on the road, things start to settle down, but it's a wake-up call for everyone. Working out here is tough, and one mistake can mess everything up. Meanwhile, Tyson's checking on progress. They're making headway, but there's still a long road ahead. They've barely scratched the surface, and there's no telling what they'll find down there. But despite the challenges, there's excitement in the air. With gold prices high, everyone's hopeful about what they might uncover. It's a risky business, but that's the thrill of it. You never know what's waiting just beneath the surface. As the sun goes down, Tyson brings everyone together by the campfire. He talks about how important it is to work together and stay alert in tough conditions. Each time they face a problem and solve it, they become closer as a team. They laugh and tell stories under the stars. feeling confident that they can handle anything that comes their way as they search for gold. Descending deeper and digging for gold in the dark. With her truck fixed up and ready for action, Tatiana stares down into the bare-cut mine pit. It's like staring into the mouth of a giant, hungry beast, craving the treasures buried deep below. Despite her nerves, she's determined to get back to work, even if she's worried about what might go wrong this time. Driving her rig over the rough terrain, Tatiana follows the familiar path carved out by the heavy machinery. The amount of dirt they've already moved is mind-boggling, but they're not stopping anytime soon. As she descends into the pit, the temperature drops and the darkness closes in. The pit is like a maze of trucks and equipment, all working together to clear away tons of dirt and rock. Down on the pit floor, Tatiana joins Foreman Mitch and his crew. They're working tirelessly to keep the operation running smoothly. It's a well-oiled machine, with everyone playing their part to uncover whatever treasures lie beneath. Taking a moment to look around at her fellow miners, Tatiana sees the determination in their eyes. They're all here chasing the same dream, the hope of striking it rich and changing their lives forever. It's that hope that keeps them going, even when the work is tough and the rewards seem far off. With each load of dirt she hauls away, Tatiana knows they're getting closer to finding that elusive fortune. Despite the cold and the exhaustion, she pushes on, fueled by the promise of what they might uncover. As she drives back up out of the pit, Tatiana knows they'll keep digging, no matter what. They're driven by hope, by the belief that somewhere in the darkness, there's a glimmer of gold waiting to be found. And with that hope lighting their way, they'll keep pushing forward, deeper into the unknown. Mitch knows the terrain well and can battle the treacherous elements. To survive and succeed in the Yukon's unforgiving wilderness took grit, resilience, and no small amount of luck. Its temperamental climate and punishing terrain made it one of the most merciless places on Earth. But Foreman Mitch Blashka was a seasoned veteran, intimately familiar with the land's many harsh realities. Over nearly a decade of sweating and swearing in the remote Klondike, he had earned his wilderness stripes the hard way. Mitch knew firsthand how quickly a promising mining season could be utterly dashed by circumstances beyond their control. In the volatile Yukon, Mother Nature could turn on prospectors without warning in a multitude of cruel and unusual ways. Whiteout blizzards could descend unexpectedly, even midsummer, enveloping camps in an impenetrable cloak of swirling snow and wind. Attempting to work in zero visibility risked losing both machinery and limb to concealed pits and drop-offs. Once vital access roads became lost to sight, crews risked wandering lost into the ravenous mouths of the frozen backcountry. If the storms didn't subside for days on end, meager supplies of food and fuel would dwindle rapidly. Rogue flash floods triggered by distant tremors could smash through worksites without warning, devouring roads and banked pay streaks alike in their raging torrents. Months of effort were erased in stunned minutes, leaving nothing but mud and chaos in their wake. The land itself was constantly shifting and unraveling too, its crumbling soil and bedrock disintegrating away without notice. Trucks and gear could vanish into newly opened crevices in a heartbeat. In the forest, usually a refuge and sanctuary, calamity also lurked behind every trunk and thicket. A slight change in the wind could make huge spruce trees fall suddenly, without any warning sounds. One careless, misplaced step on the greasy carpets of fallen pine needles risked twisted ankles or impalement on broken limbs. And permeating everything, the relentless sub-zero cold slowly leached power, motivation, and hope from even the most hardened souls. Like an invisible predator, it patiently awaited exposed flesh or mechanical vulnerabilities to attack and cripple. Frostbite, hypothermia, and equipment catastrophes racked up casualties every season. Yes, Mitch knew better than most the endless gamut of ways their capricious setting could maim, entomb, or ruin interlopers. Out here, Existence itself felt like one long, grueling battle for survival against the elements themselves. But through all of the challenges and close shaves over the years, something unexpected had happened. Mitch found the unyielding land sinking its claws into his heart, binding him to it inexorably. Underneath its volatile temperament and perils, Mitch had glimpsed the Yukon's alluring hidden soul. So rather than regarding the land as an adversary to be subjugated, Mitch had come to see it as a partner to move with and adapt around. Like any successful relationship built on respect, sometimes compromises were required. Not every hillside needed to feel the ravages of their starved wash plant, Big Red. And within his crew, over the long seasons laboring together, the human connection had grown equally strong. Their shared reliance and experiences surviving adversity forged profound bonds that ran far deeper than any business partnership. Mitch felt a fundamental duty as foreman to shepherd his team safely through whatever fresh disaster this temperamental land unleashed next. Their fate and spirits were now intertwined by the threads of camaraderie woven through long days of toil and laughter together. No matter what new equipment failure or act of God awaited around the corner, no crew member would endure it alone. So when Parker Schnabel had floated the risky idea of trying to operate deep into the darker, colder months of the encroaching Yukon winter this year, Mitch hadn't hesitated. He knew their crew, their family in all ways but blood, would endure those intensified hardships the same as any others before, fighting to stay afloat in the Yukon's harsh reality. In a distant corner of the Indian River claim, foreman Mitch Blassie leads his tired team through an uphill battle. Their equipment is old and temperamental, barely managing to scrape up any dirt. Mitch hopes they'll strike gold before everything falls apart completely. In the unforgiving lands of the Yukon, hope fades fast. Mitch knows that surviving another day means holding on to whatever optimism they have left, even as reality bites harder. But Mitch keeps pushing forward, driven by the need to support his crew's families back home. They struggled through the unforgiving terrain, their determination outweighing their dwindling confidence. As they work, the looming presence of Big Red, an old wash plant, serves as a reminder of past failures. But Mitch and his crew can't dwell on the past. They've got to focus on the task at hand. Under Big Red's shadow, Mitch struggles to keep the machinery running smoothly. It's a constant battle against breakdowns and setbacks, with every ounce of dirt they uncover feeling like a small victory. For Mitch and his miners, survival is the only goal now. They push through exhaustion and frustration, clinging to the hope that they'll strike it lucky before it's too late. It's a race against time, against the elements and their limitations. But even as they fight on, they know that luck may not be on their side. In this unforgiving land, success is never guaranteed, and the frozen earth may reclaim their efforts before they can reap the rewards, weighing meager gains against growing risks. As the Yukon sky turns to twilight, Mitch looks at his tired crew. They're all worn out, their exhaustion clear on their faces. Despite feeling tired, there's a sense of pride in the air as they see the land they've changed through determination alone. But this feeling of success fades quickly as the last trucks struggle up the hill, carrying small loads. The radio crackles, and Parker Schnabel's voice brings bad news from camp. Their hard work this week hasn't brought in enough gold to cover their costs. Mitch feels disheartened as he hears the numbers, just over 130 ounces of gold, far less than they need. The reality is tough to accept. They've put everything they have into this project, but it's still not enough. Bills for repairs, wages, and the risk of running out of money weigh heavily on their minds. Parker's voice is serious as he tells them the harsh truth. They've collected only half of what they usually do, and it's not enough to support them. But there's no time to feel hopeless. Mitch understands they must keep moving forward, no matter what. For Mitch and his team, the hope of finding more gold is just around the corner. They might be tired and worn out, but they're connected by more than just the desire for gold. It's their shared struggle and silent agreement that keeps them motivated. As they get ready to tackle the obstacles ahead, Mitch feels a small spark of hope. Despite the challenges, they're determined to keep going, fueled by the unity that comes from facing difficulties together. Echoes of past fortunes running through the icy Yukon. As the dim light of nightfall spreads over the empty mine site, Foreman Mitch falls into the routine of closing up. Doing familiar tasks brings a bit of comfort in the cold and the tough reality they face. Another tough week is over, and Mitch confronts the harsh truth about their business. Despite working hard, they're spending more than they're making, and it's hard for the crew to keep going. Compared to past successes, this season's small profits feel like a cruel joke. Mitch feels the weight of past failures, reminding him of the dangers in this harsh land. As night falls, Mitch can't shake the memories of past mistakes. Thoughts of failed ventures driven by greed hang in the air, making their current struggles even harder to bear. But Mitch understands the importance of looking forward, not dwelling on the past. Survival means staying focused and resilient, pushing away doubts and fears to keep moving ahead. As he gets ready to leave for the night, Mitch feels a fresh sense of determination. Despite past letdowns, he still holds on to hope. Tomorrow brings a new day, another opportunity to find the treasures hidden in the frozen ground. Every sunrise offers a chance for redemption, a possibility to overcome past setbacks and create a better future. With determination, Mitch and his team continue forward, ready to tackle whatever obstacles come their way. An encounter with nature that stole over $250,000 worth of processed gold. In the wild lands of the tundra, Parker Schnabel, a seasoned miner, faces off against the relentless forces of nature. His crew, weathered and worn out, struggles against the harsh elements as they cling to their dreams of striking gold. But nature has other plans, unleashing its fury upon Parker's mining operation. 2 weeks of hard work were wiped away in moments as ancient underground waterways burst open, flooding the mine shafts and erasing their progress. The catastrophe is triggered by a simple act, a shovel piercing through a long buried wall, setting off a chain reaction of destruction. Within minutes, what was once a scene of industrious ambition becomes a scene of chaos as torrents of water sweep through the site, devouring everything in their path. Despite desperate efforts to save their equipment and salvage what they can, Parker's prized claim, the Wolf Cut, is swallowed up by the floodwaters. Over $250,000 worth of processed pay streak is lost, along with the hopes and fortunes of Parker and his crew. As the waters recede and the devastation becomes clear, Parker is faced with the harsh reality of their losses. Years of hard work and dedication washed away in an instant, leaving behind nothing but destruction and despair. But even in the face of such overwhelming odds, Parker refuses to give up hope. Despite the mercilessness of nature, he knows that the lure of gold will always draw them back to the unforgiving land they call home. As he watches his crew pick through the wreckage, Parker braces himself for the challenges that lie ahead. The Arctic winds howl around them, a constant reminder of the harsh reality of life on the tundra. But Parker remains determined, ready to face whatever fate throws their way. For on these gold-tinged hills where ambition and adversity collide, there is always a glimmer of hope, no matter how dim it may seem. And with that hope burning in their hearts, Parker and his crew stand ready to brave whatever trials tomorrow may bring. Darkest before dawn, finding resolve amidst the ruins. As dark clouds gather above, Parker surveys the aftermath of the flood, seeing the scars it's left on the land. The organized structures of their mining operation are now destroyed, showing how powerful nature can be. Feeling uneasy, Parker takes in the damage. Many before them have tried to find riches here, but all faced failure against nature's forces. Yet, despite the discouragement, Parker senses a flicker of hope. Despite the destruction, there's a feeling of rebirth in the air, as if the land itself is rejuvenating. At that moment, Parker understands their journey is about more than just finding gold. It's about resilience and the bonds formed through tough times. This realization gives him the strength to keep going. As the tired crew gathers around the campfire, Parker knows they'll tackle any challenges together. It's not just about gold, it's about their commitment to each other and the land. With that in mind, Parker leans on Mitch's shoulder, ready for whatever tomorrow holds. Even in the darkest times, there's hope for a new day. The harsh Yukon terrain is not for the faint of heart. The remote mining camp was nestled in a vast valley, partly shielded from wind but still vulnerable to the harsh weather. Surrounded by forests and scattered equipment, it was easy to forget the lurking dangers until winter struck suddenly. Subtle signs like changing daylight and a chill in the air hinted at impending danger. Then, blizzards descended from the glaciers, turning the area into a treacherous wasteland. Sometimes false warmth brought hope before disaster struck. Avalanches triggered by small changes could destroy everything in their path. Even the ground could shift unexpectedly, undermining any sense of safety. Life here was a constant struggle. Equipment froze, fittings broke, and entire rigs disappeared in minutes. The once comforting forest became hazardous, with slippery logs and falling trees. But the most relentless threat was the cold itself, freezing lungs and weakening even the strongest. Exhausted and disheartened, the miners battled the elements with little respite. Thanks for watching. Like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates. And while you're still here, click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos.